Seth Meyers this late night. We hope you're doing well. And now, if you don't mind, we're going to get to the news. President Trump tonight attended a Saudi state dinner. Okay, well, just so you know, it's going to be a lot of stuff you've never tried, like kabsa and mandi and forks. President Trump said yesterday he's considering joining Russian President Vladimir Putin and Ukrainian President Zelensky in Turkey on Thursday for peace talks, and added, quote, "I was thinking about flying over." Oh, were you? Okay, I guess let us know. These are peace talks to prevent the escalation of a war in Europe, and you're treating it like it's your neighbor grilling. Oh, maybe I'll come by. You know, you're not doing veggie burgers, are you? Hey, Wally, can we go back to the first part of that joke? I just want to point something out real quick.
I saw it.
You did?
Yeah.
But maybe saw it a little too late?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's wrong.
Russet.
Yeah.
Is there another one?
Yeah, there's another one. Ukrainian has an N at the end of it down there.
It's my way of protesting them.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah. I was going to say this is the cost of tariffs.
That works too.
We can't afford all the the letters now.
Yeah.
I like, by the way, that you're like, I noticed too. Well, then I guess both of you and I are on the same page.
Yes, we are.
During a press conference yesterday, President Trump said that if China had signed a trade deal during his first term, the Chinese, quote, would be able to buy products that they've never been able to buy. I'm sorry, you think they want stuff from us? They have iPhones. We have cars that can't get wet. Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. shared photos on Sunday of himself and grandchildren swimming in a Washington creek that is contaminated with sewage and bacteria. You know, I used to think it was crazy that he had a brain worm, but now I think it's crazy that he's only had one. In a statement released yesterday, the FAA said that as few as 3 air traffic controllers were scheduled to work last night at Newark Liberty Airport. On the plus side, nobody is working at Hudson News. Take all the trail mix and magazines you want. It's a free-for-all. During a press conference yesterday, President Trump said that he wants to, quote, equalize what Americans and Europeans pay for prescription drugs, and added that equalizing was a new word he came up with. Well, that's going to come as quite a surprise to Queen Latifah. Authorities in Pennsylvania recently arrested a woman after she allegedly stole more than $1,000 worth of candles from a CVS. On the bright side, her arrest was very romantic. A Massachusetts man was arrested recently after he allegedly drove 118 miles per hour on Interstate 93. In his defense, he had ordered a medium, but they gave him a large. Krispy Kreme has unveiled a collection of donuts to celebrate the 45th anniversary of the video game Pac-Man, and if you have enough of them, you'll become a ghost. And finally, an alligator got its head stuck in a lawn chair last week in front of a home in Florida. This story first reported at the committee meeting for a new state flag. And that was a monologue, everybody. And we are off and running. Got a great show tonight. He's an Emmy-nominated actor you know from The Office, Jack Ryan, and A Quiet Place. He's returning to the stage in Angry Allen, which begins previews May 23rd at Off-Broadway's Studio Seaview here in New York. And his new film, Fountain of Youth, premieres May 23rd on Apple TV+. Our friend John Krasinski is back on the show. We got John back, everybody. She is a Grammy winner and a member of the Country Music Hall of Fame. Her NBC sitcom Happy's Place is back for a second season. Reba McEntire is back, the legend. And he is an Emmy, Oscar-nominated director and screenwriter, you know, from Michael Clayton, the Bourne franchise, and Rogue One. He is the creator, executive producer, and showrunner of Andor, which is fantastic. It's streaming now on Disney+. I am so excited that Tony Gilroy is here tonight, everybody. Me and my brother talked to Annalee Ashford this week on Family Trips. Do give that a listen. You guys, moving on. These days, the news stinks. Every headline I see makes me feel worse than the last. But every once in a while, there's a story that makes me feel great. I'd like to share one now in a segment called The Kind of Story We Need Right Now. This is Tim Freedy. Tim is a 57-year-old man from Wisconsin who, this is absolutely true, has been bitten by snakes 200 times. How did Tim get 200 snake bites? Did he fall into a zoo enclosure? Was he a stunt double in Raiders of the Lost Ark? No. Tim Freedy got 200 snake bites on purpose. Now, I know this sounds like the origin story for a supervillain named, I don't know, Snake Freak, but trust me, this is the kind of story we need right now. See, when Tim was 5, he was bitten by a garter snake, and that started a lifelong fascination with snakes. As he got older, Tim wondered if by being exposed to snake venom and gradually increasing doses, he could become totally immune to snake bites. So he got a bunch of snakes, put them in his basement, and let those snakes bite him 200 times over the course of 18 years. Take a look.
Black Mamba. BNG type N. Thanks for watching.
This is the kind of story we need right now. Let me explain why. The U.S. government is doing everything it can to defund scientific research. This guy said, no problem, I'll just do science by myself at my house. Tim doesn't need government funding or grant money. He needs 2 things, some snakes and neighbors who will never ask, so, what you doing in your basement? Now, I want to take a moment to clarify. Tim is not a trained scientist. He's a regular-ass guy who works construction. Tim has spent the same amount of time studying science that I have spent studying flamenco dancing, which is 0 minutes. My man was just in his basement winging it. So the fact that Tim is currently alive and not dead in his basement should be enough to make this story incredible. But buckle up, because here comes the really great part. See, it turns out there is no universal anti-venom for snake bites. It's like how there's no universal charger for phones, except it's way worse because it, snakes. So when you get bitten by a snake, you do 2 things, excuse me. 1, you shout, holy I got bitten by a snake. And 2, you track down an anti-venom for that particular breed of snake. But because Tim has let so many different species of snake bite him, his immune system has developed antibodies that work on almost every type of snake bite in the world. Scientists are currently studying Tim's blood, which, because he's from Wisconsin, is 50% cheese. But the rest is full of antibodies that scientists are hoping to use to develop a medicine that could work on all snake bites worldwide. Their research was reported this week in a journal called The Cell, and not, as I would have expected, a journal called You're Never Gonna Believe This. You guys, this is the kind of story we need right now. This man had a very weird hobby, and he found a way to use that hobby for good. Can you imagine if every weird hobby improved the world somehow? Like if riding a unicycle cured Alzheimer's, or LARPing drove down interest rates. Sadly, the only side effect those hobbies have is increased virginity. Now, getting bitten by 200 snakes has to hurt. So how did Tim do it?
You really can't have a weak nerve. You really have to go into it hardcore. I call it saddle time. I just didn't want to inject once in a while or get bit once every couple of years. It became a lifestyle for me.
Okay, first of all, I think this journalist's face speaks for all of us. Second of all, being vegetarian is a lifestyle. Living in Santa Fe and wearing lots of turquoise is a lifestyle. I don't know if that's the word I'd use for this.
2 bites. Nice.
But more importantly, can we go back to this?
I call it saddle time.
Man, this man didn't just invent a new anti-venom, he also created a badass catchphrase. I'm gonna use that anytime I do something scary. Bath time with my kids, saddle time. Parallel parking, saddle time. And those are the only 2 scary things I do. Now that scientists are hard at work on the anti-venom, Tim has taken a break from letting snakes bite him, and I think we can all guess how he feels about that.
Do I miss it? Yes.
Oh, okay. So I guess we all guessed wrong. But at least he's got great perspective on what he's accomplished.
I'm helping humanity. I know I'm helping somebody 8,000 miles away I can't talk to. And that makes me feel really, really good. That everything I did was in vain. Or, no pun intended.
That pun might not be intended, but that pun is accepted. Because it's amazing, and because this is the kind of story we need right now. We will be right back with John Krasinski, everybody.